Hi everybody, it's Bonkai 922. I'm seriously wondering what the is going on. I saw episode, what was it? 8 of Kyoukai no Kanata. Right now this show is really going crazy. Seriously. Anyone who's not watching this show, I don't know what's wrong with you. You must be delirious. You need to get up on it ASAP. Let me tell you something, yo. We got two shady in this shit. That, frankly, I wouldn't trust them. Listen, I wouldn't trust them if they were the last beings on the planet. Yes. In fact, if this guy, this investigator guy, okay, him, and Izumi were the last two people on the planet, you know what I'd do? Oh, bye-bye. I'd jump off a cliff. Yes, that's right. I would not stand them. Do not trust these people. Do not trust them. Because they're shady. And they're dirty, too. Alright, let's get into this episode. This was called Calming Gold, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was called Calming Gold. Yeah. Calming Gold. And it said, I was looking on Anime News Network, and it says there's 13 episodes of this show, but I think 13 means that extra, OVA that I think they just came out with. So yeah, but this episode gets a 5 out of 5. I'm like, whoa, beginning of the episode is a huge, what the? We have Izumi, right? And she's in this room, and I guess this girl is an assistant of hers, and she's like, I never tried this on a human before. And she touches her chest, and all of a sudden, this... What the? This thing starts going around her and sinking her into the water, down the floor. And she's in water. And we see her, she's like this. Totally died. Her eyes are dazed. I'm like... And then we see Izumi, and she's down below. She's at this area. She talks to that same old guy about something, saying she's gonna get it back or something. And then we go into the opening. I was like, huh? The rest of the episode pretty much is when they're talking to I'm trying to think. Yeah, we basically have this scenario about the calming. The calming has to do with basically, we get an explanation on it. The rest of the episode we have an explanation of the calming, of what it means. And we have that scenario. And we basically have, I think it's yeah, and actually we see a scene a cute scene with Sakura and Mira. It's kind of funny. We see that Akihito's with them, waiting for the train, and he keeps falling asleep. Because supposedly he was up for 7 hours trying to decide which glasses for Mirai to wear. It was very weird. And we see them at school, and everything, and their teacher, Nino, says she's going to have time off next day, because obviously the calming and everything, and all the whole bit. We get an explanation of what the calming is. Basically what happens is, from midnight onward, Yomus lose their power. Now, here's the catch. The whole premise of this whole situation is that this is a chance for, spirit world warriors to go out and kill Yomus that they would not be able to kill at a certain time. So, what ends on happening is they explain to Akihito, this is bad for you because And we got that whole huge thing with his postcard and his mom. That was, you know, just like, you know, that whole bit. But that's beside the point. Is he won't have his ability to be immortal during that time. So if he goes out during the calming and someone stabs him, he'll die. Yeah, that's the whole gist. Now, this leads to another scenario that just threw me off for a whirlwind. Like, what is going on here? We have a scene where they're walking home after they've got the 411 on the whole calming thing. And you know, Akihito goes on a train and everything. Everybody goes their separate ways. So Mitsuki gets picked up by that investigator guy. Remember him? This guy is, listen, I'd rather be in a dark alley with Jack the Ripper than with this guy. And he's basically giving her a ride, and he's trying to prong her for information about about the Nase family. And basically he tells her that apparently what are they called again? Let me look that up. I forgot the name of the family. It's Sakura's family, their name. Inami. Yeah, Inami. The Inami family apparently was going to kill Mirai after they found out that what she did to their daughter. But who stopped them, this is what he's telling her, he's telling Mitsuki, was her older sister. This leads to a what the fuck moment when we're going back and forth scenes between Mitsuki and the investigator and Akihito. Akihito has a memory of when these kids were with him and he realized he wasn't dead and he killed somebody and there's blood on his hands and he wakes up from that. Izumi, because he was on the train, is on the train with him, sitting right in front of him, and tells her, "Oh, I must have been sleeping." He says, "Rest for a little while longer." And did the same thing that she did in the beginning of the episode. And I'm like, what the fuck? Listen, Izumi, you're fucking a bitch. And you need to be put down. Someone stab her in the chest already. This girl is no good. No good. Go back to the investigator, and he's talking to Mirai and to Mitsuki and everything. And that's when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, after she's walking, he's talking to her on the beach. Big Slash comes in, and her brother arrives, and he has a word of words with him and fights him. And actually, when he's fighting him, it's not him, it's a clone. He goes into this like van, and he fights him. There's an explosion, and she calls him Oni-chan. And it results in him being there. It was pretty good action sequences in this episode. So what ends up happening is they find Akihito. They bring him to, what's her that inn they have, and they notice that he's unconscious and he's not responding to anything, and Mirai's there and everything, and that's pretty much what we have there. And this is close to the midnight hour of when the calming is going to start. And we see the other, spirit world, the spirit world warriors coming out. We got that girl, the teacher, and we got Izumi all there, and they're all taking it. And Izumi, I call her a shady bitch, but Jesus Christ, this girl is like one badass. She just took out like 10 Yobus at once. That was a sick scene when they're all fighting the Yobus and stuff. And then it gets even crazier. They get a mess, and basically there's another scene with Mitsuki and her brother. They're talking on a train, and he gets a message. They're basically talking about the investigator, and she's asking her brother why she wasn't informed about the information about the Nase family, about what they know and stuff. So he gets a message from Mirai, and it's about Akihito. And they get really scared, and they run, and they go into where he is now. And then we have a scene with Mirai. She's with her Sakura. That was a nice scene because it showed that they have a connection now. And Sakura was saying that now she has somebody. She notices that you really care for Akihito, Kakabara senpai. You really care for him. And it's like she was crying a little, saying that he's the first person who considered me to be normal. So she runs to his side, and that's when the investigator's there. I'm like, what? And he's looking at, what's her face? Let me go get her name. I forget her name. What's her name? Ayaka. That's her name. So Ayaka at her store. And he's like, oh, I'm taking Akihito into custody? Huh? Why? You haven't explained. It's like somebody, what the fuck's in this episode? And then she turns into her Yomu form, and then they start fighting, and I was like, oh my god, someone please tell me what's going on here. So she starts fighting him, and it's the comics, so obviously, she's not as full powered as she used to be, as she would. And at one point, he almost gets her. Then out of nowhere comes Izumi. And I'm like, huh? Wait a minute. Whoa. Why are you? I don't understand this. And she's attacking him. And she says this one-liner in the nick of time. Then after that, we go to Akihito and in the house. And we see claws coming after him. And his eye changes color. And that's where the episode ends. I'm like, so what's going on here? Tell me, anyone who's read the light novel, because I'm totally confused. Is Izumi to be trusted or not? Because the preview really fucked me over. I was like, I think she said kill him. I'm like, what? What's going on here? I'm totally clueless about this. Is Izumi helping him? Does she want to kill Akihito, or is she trying to save Akihito? And this investigator guy, what's his deal? I'm totally confused. I was like, what's going on? So yeah, this was a what the fuck episode. Huge. Massive. I'm like, it was a great episode, but I'm like, what's going on, But, listen, it's just insane. I think Izumi, you want my opinion? I think Izumi, she's trying to use Akihito to get something. That's what she's doing. I call it like I see it. She's trying to use him. Well, I hope this happens. I hope Mitsuki and her brother find out. And they find out that their older sister is a bitch and a killer. Because to me, that's what it looks like. But at the same time, I'm thinking, what's going on? Because you got this investigator guy, and he's saying that he wants to take him in. Why? I don't understand what's going on here. I need answers. But from the episode preview, it looks like there's a huge fight. Something happens, I think, with Akihito. I don't know what happens, but something happens. And I don't think it's good. To be honest with you, I'm not going to say he dies, but the preview shows him laying with his eyes closed against what seems to be a destroyed building area. And we see Mirai, Mitsuki, and her brother in a room. Like, I don't know what's going on. This whole episode gave me a what the fuck, so I'm a little dazed. But all I have to say is Izumi is a bitch. I called it. I called it from like last week or 2 episodes ago that this bitch was shady. And I was right. And the investigator is a shady son of a bitch too. They both need to be killed. I'm sorry. These guys, both of them, motherfucker. Can Get a knife or a sword or something. Just stab. Just stab. They're no good. But yeah. That's just, I'm just. You know what? You know what? Kill me with a shotgun. She sent me a message. I still gotta review Capillion. Too many what the fucks. Too many. But yeah, that's the story, people. Bankai Night 22. See you guys later. I need to cool off after this episode. Comment below. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you have any answers for me so I can clear this off. This mystery of what the fucks. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bankai Night 22. Peace.